Our last topic in this section is to talk about what's known as a piecewise function. A piecewise function is a function that is defined by two or more equations. Which equation you use depends on the value of x, since each equation will be defined for only certain values of x. We will also graph piecewise functions, but we will use our calculators to do this. So example 4, we're going to consider the piecewise function f of x equals, okay, our curly bracket is just to indicate that these two are to be considered together, x plus 3 if x is greater than or equal to 2, 2x minus 2 if x is less than 2. Okay, so what this means is if you have an x value that is greater than or equal to 2, you'll be using this top equation. If you have an x value that is less than 2, you'll be using this bottom equation. So part A, find f of negative 2. So the first thing to do when evaluating a piecewise function is decide which equation is appropriate to be used. So you take your x value, negative 2, and you see which of these inequalities does that appropriately fit into. Okay, well, negative 2 is less than 2, so we want to use this second equation. And for part A, we won't use the first equation at all. So we want to put negative 2 into 2x minus 2. 2 times negative 2 minus 2, and that's equal to negative 4 minus 2, which is negative 6. So when x is negative 2, y is negative 6. Okay, B, we are asked to find f of 3. So again, you want to start with where does my x value fit into the inequalities? Is 3 greater than or equal to 2, or is 3 less than 2? Okay, well, 3 is greater than or equal to 2, so we want to use our first equation. And for part B, we won't use our second equation at all. So substituting 3 in for x, we have 3 plus 3, and that gives us 6. So when x is 3, y is 6. The last thing that we're asked to do is sketch the graph of f of x, and we're going to use our calculators to help us do this. Okay, so with the TI-84 or TI-83, okay, I'm going to have you do a couple things at the beginning, just so I can make sure everyone should have a working calculator. So turn your calculator on first. Okay, and then go into y equals up here. I want you to clear any equations that might be in there already. Okay, so you just go on to the line that your equation is on and push clear. And then just to be sure, scroll down. Make sure you don't have anything hiding down there. Okay, and then go back up to y1. Other thing I want you to make sure is that none of your plots are highlighted, or your calculator will probably give you an error. So notice up here I have this plot highlighted. So if any of these are highlighted, I want you to scroll up beyond y1. Okay, make it blink, and then press enter. That will deselect your plot and go back down to y1. Okay, so what we want to do is enter each line of our piecewise function into our calculator. Okay, the X button, if you're not sure, you're going to use this as your X button. It's got several different letters on it depending on the mode that you're in. Okay, we should just be in regular graphing mode. If you're not sure if you're in regular graphing mode, press mode. And you should see that our fourth option down is function mode. That should be highlighted right here, function mode. Okay, so back to y equals. y1, we want to enter our first equation of x plus 3 if x is greater than or equal to 2. With a piecewise function, we have to tell the calculator two things. First, the equation, and then the x values that it's used for. So we're going to use parentheses to separate those two. So use your left parentheses, and then type in x plus 3. Close the parentheses. And then another left parentheses. We're going to enter in x is greater than or equal to 2. We're going to press X. And then to get to inequality symbols, we need to go to the test menu, which is here under math. It's either in blue or yellow, depending on if you have a TI-83 or TI-84. So to get to that, press second, and then press your math button, and you should see the test screen. Okay, we have greater than or equal to 2, so we want to select option number 4, either by going down to number 4 and pressing enter, okay, or you can press number 4 and it will select it automatically. Okay, and then enter in 2 and close your parentheses. So there's our first equation entered in. Our second equation, 2x minus 2. So parentheses, 2x minus 2, close parentheses, and then that's if x is less than 2. Left parentheses, x, second, math, less than 2. Okay, less than is number 5. Right parentheses. Okay, just to make sure we're all looking at the same screen when we do this, I want you to, before you hit graph over here, I'd like everyone to press zoom. Okay, and we're going to select option number 6, the standard viewing window. The standard viewing window uses x values from -10 to 10 for x and -10 to 10 for y. So select option number 6. And then when you graph, you should see something like this, graphing the two equations one at a time. Okay, so here's your part for greater than or equal to 2, and here's your part for less than 2. Okay, just one note, if you have a TI-83, your calculator is not able to have this break in the two graphs like the TI-84 is. Okay, the programming was not sophisticated enough to do that. So if you're seeing the TI-83 screen, you'll be noticing that there is a line connecting these two, a perfectly vertical line. Okay, that part is not an official part of the graph, it's just what your calculator could do. So the graph of the actual function is this line and this line. Okay, one more example for piecewise functions. Example number 5. Consider the piecewise function defined by f of x equals -3x plus 2 if -4 is less than or equal to x less than -2, x squared minus 4 if 1 is less than or equal to x less than 3, and 2 if x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, so part A asks us to find f of 3. Okay, so on this one, x value is 3. We want to identify which equation is the correct equation to use by looking at the inequalities. So if x is 3, 3 is not less than 3, but 3 is greater than or equal to 3, specifically with the equal part. So this fits into our third equation. So our third equation, if we try to put x in, okay, well, it's just a 2. There is no x. So what that tells you is if your x value is greater than or equal to 3, then automatically your y value is 2. No calculating to be done. B, find f of 2. Okay, so f of 2, we want to figure out which inequality our x value fits into. And 2 is greater than or equal to 1, and it's less than 3. So it's our middle equation. So putting 2 into our middle equation for x, we'll have, instead of x, 2 squared minus 4. 2 squared is 4 minus 4, and that equals 0. So when x is 2, y is 0. Last thing we're asked to do is sketch the graph. So again, we'll do that on our calculator. So go to y equals, clear the first equation, clear the second equation. Okay, then we want to enter our 3 equations in on this problem. So y1, okay, we have negative 3x plus 2. So in parentheses, make sure you use your negative sign down here, not the minus sign, because they are different in calculator language. Negative 3x plus 2, close parentheses. And then our inequality next to that. Okay, on this one we have a compound inequality. Your calculator is not smart enough to be able to understand a compound inequality the way we write it. We're going to split this up into 2 separate inequalities. Okay, so first we're going to do the first half of the inequality. Negative 4 is less than or equal to x. So we're going to say negative 4, second math, less than or equal to is number 6, x. To put our second inequality in, we're going to use the and symbol in the calculator. To find and, press second math, and just use your right arrow to go over to the logic screen, and you'll see the word and. Again, your calculator is not smart enough to understand a compound inequality the way that we write it. We have to give it as 2 separate inequalities joined by the word and. So use and then enter our second inequality, that x is less than negative 2. And then close the parentheses. Okay, go down to y2. y2 in parentheses, x squared minus 4. Close parentheses. And then parentheses, we have another double inequality. So we'll have 1 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than 3. Okay, and our third equation in parentheses, 2. And then next to that, x is greater than or equal to 3. Close parentheses. Okay, and then go ahead and hit graph. And we should see a graph that looks like this. Okay, so here's our first piece up here. Here's our middle piece. And then here's our y equals 2. Okay, again, if you have a TI-83, you're going to see these connected with a line dropping down and over and dropping down. Okay, so again, those are not a part of your official graph. It's just the best the calculator could do.